台灣教會有機會大家平安。I think I need to do the English also. When I say shalom, will you say shalom back to me? Shalom?
Shalom.
Thank you. This morning I brought the greetings from my alma mater, Tainan Theological College. I want to let you know that there is such an institution exists, and they keep on producing many preachers, and one of them, our senior Pastor Pan is one, and then Mrs. Pan also was a graduate of Tainan Seminary. And I would like to show first the slides, and then I will go into sermon. 我就爱用英语，就是我想咱大家大家讲这个是台南市内，我爱听台南市内，今仔日甲咱大家请安，由咱大家大道甲咱。This is what the Taiwan looked like in the past. I mean, this map was made quite some time ago, more than 100 years ago. How accurate, I do not know, but it looks different. Next. This was even older. So Taiwan looked really like a sweet potato. This was made by the Dutch people when they occupied Taiwan. A missionary was sent to Taiwan, and his name was Thomas Barclay. And he arrived in Taiwan 1875. And so that was the year they say the Tainan Seminary was formed. Actually, it was earlier than that, but because of this, Thomas Barclay arrived in Taiwan, and he was the longest, long time existing or existed principal of Tainan Seminary. So they say Tainan Seminary was established in 2 more years. It will be 140 years. This is, in the past, some missionaries, when they could not walk like 10 hours a day, they had to take a chair. And this was Mrs. Barclay. When she went to local church, she took the chair, and it was carried by 2 persons, one in the front and one in the back. I said that Thomas Barclay went to Taiwan in 75. 10 years later, he went to a town called Jilun, and he had quite an experience there. I don't know whether I have my friend in Japan to draw this for me, and I don't know whether you see that Thomas Barclay in the middle. Those people in Bintong Prefecture, Jilun, they didn't like the Bavarians' religion, so they came with the the waste. And they came with that, and then they poured it on Thomas Barclay from his top till his toe, all soaked with the waste. Another 10 years. 1895, Thomas Barclay was asked by Tainan people, saying that, would you go for us or take us to the Japanese general and to ask them to come into the city of Tainan. And we would surrender. We would have no resistance against it. And so Barclay went with another person. They went and the general agreed, and so they went into Tainan without any round of bullet, and it was a peace. So we always remember that Barclay was a peacemaker for Taiwan and between Taiwan and Japan, especially for Tainan City. Barclay did great things, 3 things, but one of the 3 great things he did was to establish Tainan Theological College or Tainan Theological Seminary. We take pride on Tainan Seminary because it was the first ever built in Taiwan, the Western style university or college. In those days they called it the college because there was no other college in those days, 140 years ago. And Barclay was the first one who established it. And this was how it looked like during the Japanese occupation, Japanese era. You see the Japanese flag. And that seminary still stands. And it looks just like that today also, although it was rebuilt or remodeled. And second thing he did was to establish not English, the Romanized newspaper, weekly paper. And that was also a very outstanding job he did. And that was also done in 1895. And the third thing he did, and I have no slide for that, but the third thing Thomas Barclay did was to translate the Bible. When we read Bible in our worship service, the Bible was translated mainly by Thomas Barclay. So we call that the Bible we read every Sunday, we call it Thomas Barclay Bible because he translated from Greek and Hebrew into Taiwanese and with the Romanized Taiwanese language. So that is what I would like to share with you regarding Tainan Seminary because of our founder, Thomas Barclay. I would say a few words in Taiwanese. 다른 신앙이迄個建設者就是迄個巴克勒來台灣本年就140啊，當時在台灣攏也未有一間大學，啊巴克勒因設了後，大家叫迄間學校叫做大學，後真正迄個時代攏無迄款的學校，啊巴克勒設台南新南醫，台南新南醫，我今仔日愛甲咱大家講，台南新南醫會當講是一個阮感覺講真迄落榮幸的新南醫。咱中間今仔日在佇遮老看牧師牧師就是台南新南醫畢業的。歷代的迄個咱的牧師對以宗和牧師開始。 李信做无明雄过来即个杨新日伊毋是读台人点菜无读台人，读台湾是哪样？点菜较优秀嘛，无一定。当时我是想讲台人是较久，过来就是即个北伫迄个els水岛做牧师的即个老妇人，其他真侪来遮读册，因为宋先生教授的缘故，亲像即个陈昌发，有即个杨顺强、杨立夫，个布辛达利原来别人，但迄阵伊的名毋是安尼，拢是像迄个佫一个原住民的老师是秦英社，这拢是甲台湾真有关系。今仔日爱甲咱大家请安，问咱做祈祷甲支持。Okay, I will go into the English sermon. This morning I have two passages read, two places read, one in Matthew and one in Luke, one in Acts of Apostles. You know, Acts was written also by Luke, so I usually say Luke. Matthew and Luke. Matthew said that, you know, since now I have the authority and power of heaven and earth, so I tell you go and make disciples of all nations. And then Jesus said that, you know, I will be with you till the end of time, or end of this earth, end of time. But Luke says, the Acts 1:8 says something different. Jesus told those at the ascension time, he said that when the Holy Spirit has come, you would be making witnesses for me, first in Jerusalem. Next from Jerusalem is all in Judea, and then to go through Samaria, and to the end of the earth. There are two different words. One is the end of time, and the other, this Luke said, end of the earth. And in those days, the earth was supposed to be 4 square, and it was like 3 stories, not that firmament, and then this face of the earth, and then there was the abyss, or there was the hell, or something underneath, so 3 stories. And anyone who would go to the end, it would be too dangerous. That's why Israel people didn't like the sea, because of they may fall into somewhere you don't know. But Jesus said, you would be making witnesses to the end of the earth. So for us, there are two ideas. One is the time, and the other is geography. But above everything, Jesus said, I will be with you. And that's a very important thing. And especially I would like to share with you this morning about that word. First, Jesus said, in Jerusalem. Then to all in Judea, and then through Samaria, and to the end of earth. And I like that Samaria. I think Samaria reminds me of like us, Taiwanese, especially in Taiwan. Samaritan people in Jesus' time was supposed to be like less educated, less culture, and they were less, or they were looked down upon because of they were not pure. When Jewish people were led to captivities, some people remained, and those people got married with the people of that area, and so they became not pure, and so Jewish people didn't like Samaritans, saying that they are not really civilized, or they are not really God's chosen. But Jesus turned it around, or Luke talked about, that Jesus made Samaria the most important, because the gospel was from Judea going to the end of the earth, but it must go through Samaria. And that is what Jesus wants us to do. Don't think that you are not important. Sometimes you may say, oh, I'm too young. Or maybe I should add, I'm too old. Or sometimes they will say, oh, I didn't have enough education. I didn't have enough physical. I didn't have enough money. I didn't have... Don't worry. Jesus wants you as Samaritan, or you as less perfect, to be the instrument of peace, to be the instrument of Jesus' message to the earth, to the world. And so that is my message today. Don't worry about whether you are equipped enough. You can make peace of the world, beginning from you and me. Because Jesus picked you up, not as the Jewish people from Jerusalem, not as the Jewish people from Judea, but the world people from Samaria. Not chosen from the beginning, but you are nevertheless important. The gospel of Jesus Christ, the gospel of peace, will have to go through you to the end of the earth. So that's the end of my English sermon. And if you have the things to do as you are used to, I would like us to sing hymn at this time. So, นั้นสักการะชื่อเสียงที่